Meanwhile, down in Texas, they put this ban into place in 2021, actually, even before the Dobbs decision, and the Supreme Court allowed it to stand. Texas basically ended abortion in 2021. And what we're seeing now is that it has led to a huge jump in the death of babies. The reason why is because women are being forced to maintain their pregnancies and give birth to children that everybody knows will die within the first hours, days, or months after they're born, which is just torture. I mean, this is torturing women. Over 200 Texas babies just in the last year have died because they never should have been born in the first place. And this is just so wrong. This is new research coming out of the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. And it's brutal. Fetal abnormalities, well, let me get the exact quote here. Banning the procedure after just 6 weeks of pregnancy with no exception for fetal abnormalities led to a 13% rise in Texas's infant mortality rate from 2021 to 2022. That's in the first year that the anti-abortion law was in place. Republicans, in other words, do not give the slightest of damns about mothers or children. You're going to give birth to a child who's going to live in horrible, excruciating pain for a few days and then die, and you're going to have to watch that, and Republicans think that's cool. These people are sadists. I don't think there's any other way to describe it. They think it's cool that mothers have to watch their newborn babies die. And at the edge of a barrel, at the end of a barrel of a gun, they are using the power of the state. They are forcing these women to do this, and then they vote to cut feeding hungry children, right? Then they Texas still hasn't expanded Medicaid, so a lot of these women, they didn't have enough money to go out of state and get an abortion, so they were forced to give birth to a child that was going to be fatally deformed, and they probably couldn't afford the birth either. They're probably going to be in debt for the rest of their lives as a result of that. And now they've got to pay for a funeral, and Republicans think this is the way it should be, just to keep women pregnant? I don't get it. I just don't get it. How can this possibly be? George Bush called himself, I'm a compassionate conservative, although he wanted to end the right to abortion as well. There's nothing compassionate about conservatism. Conservatism is all about making the rich richer, the poor poorer, and keeping women and people of color in their place. Make no mistake about it. And if it requires brutality to enforce, Republicans are just fine with that. Compassionate conservatism, my ass. I'll be right back with this story about robo-taxis. They're popping up all over the place. Would you take one? And I'll pick up your calls. Stay with us.